inquiry. So we've already heard evidence about the disbandment decision, how it didn't consult very key players. That includes the KZN DPP, that includes the project lead being Lieutenant General Dumsani Kumalo, that includes the KZN top cop being Lieutenant General Kwanazi. The team members themselves didn't even know.
Lastly, the death toll in the floods which struck Indonesia last week has now risen to more than 500. Rescue workers are still battling to reach affected areas. A cyclone that had formed over the Makala Strait caused the floods which have affected 3 provinces. The BBC's Astar Extra Endirastri.
Several people were injured after being crushed in the crowd during lootings in North Sumatra. Some villagers have told the BBC they've been forced to walk for hours to reach the spots where government airdrops of aid are being delivered just to find clean water, rice, or even a phone signal to call for help. Humanitarian groups warn of a growing risk of indirect deaths, not from the floods themselves, but from hunger, untreated injuries, and a lack of medical care.
Recapping on your top stories, West African leaders are pressing Guinea-Bissau's coup officers to restore constitutional order, urging them to allow the release of election results from the disputed November 23 presidential vote. Leaders from the ECOWAS bloc, led by Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio, held tense talks in Bissau yesterday with the officers who seized power last week. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Good morning to you and yours, and thank you so much for joining us right here on Channel Africa. You are in the right place if you are in search of that African perspective. Once again, thank you to our morning team, that's Asanda Beta and Peter Ndoro, kickstarting our day on Africa Rise and Shine. It's now 6 minutes past 9 Central Africa time, and you're joining me, Palesa Tau, and Benjamin Moshatama on the move for the next 3 hours, all the way until 12 p.m. Central Africa time. Come in, join us. We'd love to have you and have all these really interesting conversations we're about to have with you as well. Check us out on www.channelafrica.co.za, on the SABC Plus app, our audio bouquets as well. That's DSTV channel 802 and OpenView HD channel 628. On the Move is about to go down, and we're going to have quite a number of conversations today. Families are quite complicated sometimes. We know that sometimes there's internal squabbling, there's childhood traumas, there's generational issues that are part of family matters, and sometimes all of this can become a place where people can get estranged with their family. So in the first hour of today's show, we're going to be just discussing whether or not you should honor the dying wishes of your estranged family members. That's quite a complicated one, right? Because death is quite final. You never really get to interact or see or talk to that person again, not in the physical realm, that is. And the finality of it makes that whole thing, that scenario, quite complicated if you were estranged during life. So we'll unpack that in today's first hour of the show. How are you doing this morning, Benji?
I'm good. Very, very sad story that we're going to be talking about, because estrangement is already difficult. The fact that while you were living with your family member, you didn't have good relationships, and there was that separation indeed. Now, thinking about honoring that family member's dying wish is going to be very complicated. And then we move into the second hour with our In the Cubicle feature. We're going to be talking about how to leave your job amicably, how to quit your job in a way that is legal, in a way that honors the work that you've done at that institution, but also that makes the your departure a departure of integrity. That's what's coming up in the Cubicle.
We're talking about so many kinds of departures today. And then in our Money Matters feature, to wrap it up, we'll be speaking about investing in stock, but not the kind that you always hear about. We'll be chatting about investing investing in livestock for today's Money Matter. So it's going to be a good one for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, man, we're looking forward to that one. Remember, you can stay interacting with us throughout the show. We are live on our Facebook page. You can find us there and stream into our studios. You can also find us on YouTube. Our YouTube page is at Channel Africa 1, where you can also see us live there. We've got those spaces running simultaneously, so you've got options there. It's either you go to Facebook or you go to YouTube. It's all up to you. It's your choice. And stay interacting with us. Remember, we do have that WhatsApp number where you can stay in touch. +27 63 406 9126. We'd love to hear from you.
Annie Kalonji sur Channel Africa.
Comment est-ce que les militants et sympathisants du parti Les Transformateurs ont-ils réagi face à la condamnation de Succès Masra?
La condamnation de Succès Masra ne nous a pas surpris et les militants transformateurs ont été bouleversés et indignés étant donné que le verdict est un verdict lourd, illégal, injuste et donc face à la répression dans laquelle le peuple tchadien est confronté, les militants transformateurs se sont résignés de ne pouvoir pas sortir manifester. Et donc, c'est une situation totalement absurde pour un pays. Et aujourd'hui, nous célébrons le 11 août, fête de l'indépendance. On pensait que le verdict allait être plus ou moins clément, mais le verdict est sévère.
Annie Kalonji, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
Get set and be ready to go. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Shaking your back, I see. They shaking your back, I see. Of your leg, no got it, they lose, got it legally. No, never know but you, none of the and I saw it, be, I be. Better dance, get a better dance, get a better dance, get a better dance, get a better dance.
Starting off with a lot of energy this morning.
Yeah,
this is
I feel like
Rema.
that's a tribute to Mada Piri there.
Oh, yeah.
It keeps on saying Mada,
Our very
Mada.
own. Maybe we should sing it for her. All right, that is Gelebu by Rema. And we're going into the first hour conversation. Families can be quite complicated. Obviously, when we think about the word family, we think about the safeness of how the space should be. We think about warmth and people who are with you through thick and thin, right? People say blood is thicker than water. But also, families can also be complicated. They can be deeply personal. Sometimes they can also be quite traumatic and a little bit chaotic as well. And sometimes within those chaoses that are brought on by various reasons, many people have found themselves estranged from their family members, in a place where they no longer speak to one another, where they no longer see each other. And some people actually become estranged for many, many years from their own family members. And even though we're struggling with this, there's still other dilemmas that we think about, right? Because where there's life, there's also death, and death seems to be pretty final. It will be the last time you get to speak to that person, you get to interact with that person in the physical realm, because we know that we also have quite a number of spiritual practices that allow these in other realms. But in the physical, it's the time where it really is the end. And today we're unpacking some of the emotional, the cultural and ethical layers of honoring a loved one's dying wish, even though you had been estranged during life. So unpacking this very complicated conversation with Rushka Lee, neuroagility profile practitioner and family law mediator, joining us on the line. It's always a pleasure to have you, Rushka. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. It's a very, very complicated one, right? But first, let's look
Mm.
at, family dynamics that are quite complicated. There's generational dynamics. There's dynamics between individuals. There's
Mm.
childhood traumas, not just your own, but
Yes.
the ones before, and this and
Mm.
that and the other that are all part of these family dynamics. But what are some of the reasons that people find themselves to the very complicated ending of estrangement with family members?
Look, there are a number of ways that you could deal with any of this, especially when it comes to the wishes of a loved one or a parent that has passed on. So it literally all depends. There's quite a few aspects that it depends on. It depends on your relationship while they were alive. It depends on if there was any sort of attempt to rectify things, or if there was just a cold shoulder. Because at the end of the day, whatever's going on in you, it doesn't shut off how you feel about your parents, and trying to do the right thing by them in a faith aspect, in a cultural aspect, and all of that. Because it's thou shalt honor your mother and father, which is absolutely great, and it stands in culture and faith and religion. But when it comes to the relationship that you had while they were alive, that creates so much angst and so much difficulty in order to partake on this, seeing their wishes through, and all of that. So it really, really all depends on a number of factors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are societal, there are cultural, there are traditional.
Mm.
There's also religious ways that
Mm.
society teaches us to treat family. Like, you cannot, no matter what your family member does to you, you cannot, throw them away. They're here forever. They're blood and forever. So getting to a place where you're estranged with someone takes a lot because of those societal pressures that we feel like you just cannot stay away from family. So on its own, estrangement is a big thing, right? Because people try and do their best, even sometimes through the most difficult and traumatic circumstances, to keep their family members around.
Hmm. Yes. Sometimes the relationships fall apart over something very, very small, and sometimes it falls apart over something very, very big. So it literally comes to the willingness of the participation in this healing of this relationship, or if it's stubborn here, stubborn there, and we got stubborn everywhere, which is usually the case within families. So it really, it's up to, I know they look at like the adults and the parents and all of that as being the elders, that they should know better, but in all honesty, they are probably the most stubborn that you would get. And from an elder looking like downwards, you are the child, you need to come apologize to me, and you need to do all of this. So it literally, the power does sort of mostly sit in the children's hands. I would like to think, and it's up to them to just kind of look at all the aspects. And because the last thing you want to do is live with regret if anything happens to a parent or anybody for that matter, to just try your best to rectify it for yourself, for your soul, for your happiness, and all of those things. So that would be, I think, the first point to look at is inward, as one of the children in the family or the youngsters.
Well, Rushka, estrangement is a reality. It happens in many, many homes. Where it gets complicated is when one of the parties actually dies, and they're no longer there. But you probably have to be someone who comes into the picture after that death. That's where things get complicated, even legally, right? Because it's either that person wants you to be part of their estate or to also facilitate their death process. That's tricky, isn't it? What do you think are the implications here?
So look, the implications can be twofold. It can be sort of legal, and then it can be personal. Because then if you are estranged to a parent who has passed on, and all of a sudden you get a big responsibility in the final will and testament, and the rest of the family is obviously going to push up their eyebrows and clutch their pearls and just like, okay, what is happening here? So it literally all depends on your relationship with yourself. At the end of the day, do you feel strong enough emotionally, physically, mentally to partake in said, funeral arrangements and, etc., the will, blah, 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 blah? Or are you willing to kind of walk away and that, sister, brother, uncle has it in their hands? It literally has to depend on you and what you will be happy to live with for the rest of your life, because regret is the worst feeling in the world.
Tough, eh?
So just heal what needs healing now, literally before it's too late.
Oh, it's so complicated, Rishka. Let's take a break. We'll come back and speak about it, because then we have to really unpack the emotions that go through that particular person who has been estranged from the passed on family member, the kind of thoughts they have to think, the kind of complicated feelings they have to deal with, but also the decision on whether or not they are actually going to honor these dying wishes. It's 20 minutes past 9 Central Africa time. We'll continue with this one after the break.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Hey, thank you for joining us right here on Channel Africa. You're listening to us on DSTV Channel 802, OpenView 628, the SABC Plus app as well. Don't forget, we've got a new website where you can stream us, www.channelafrica.co.za. Speaking about a complicated family situation today, as we start the hour of the show, speaking to Rushka Lee, a neuroagility profile practitioner and a family law mediator. We're unpacking what do you actually do when there is kind of an obligation past a family member who you have been estranged to. Do you participate? Or do you say, you know what, I've cut ties with this person and I want nothing to do with them? Or do you feel that when you do participate, it probably will be some form of self-betrayal? But then there's another way to see it, right? That if you participate, maybe it's also a way of healing. There's just different ways to see these. But also there are those legal implications. Rushka continues to speak to us on this one. Rushka, moving away from just the emotional elements, right, and into the practical legal aspects, one would think that if you are in someone's will, even if you are estranged to them, you have a legal obligation to participate because you're already in that legal document. What's your take on this one?
Okay, so from that aspect, depending, of course, on what has been left to you, whether it's monetary, whether it's in the form of assets, or just a couple of family photo albums, it literally all depends. So it is up to you as the individual. Say, for example, they left you R1 million or whatever is equivalent. And
I wouldn't be estranged anymore. I'd be like, hey,
oh, no,
I'm coming back.
like, okay, cool. We're good. We're tight. No, look, if that is the case, it is up to you, because at the end of the day, from a legal aspect, I don't think that you can say, hey, listen, I don't want it. Either you need to renominate somebody or take the money and give it to a charity, or give it to who you feel in the family is the rightful owner. I don't think you can put up your hands and say, no, not for me. But with that comes so much, you know emotional roller coasters, because at the end of the day, like, let's say you need the money, okay, well, however much it is, everybody needs money at this point in time.
Yeah.
So it's just like a matter of, do I want to take this money? Why do I want to take this money? And should I even take this money? What is going to make you sleep good at night? What's going to, like, not eat at your soul in 10 years time? So it's completely up to you how well you want to sleep at night. There is always going to be regret, regardless, estranged or not. There is going to be regret of the things you should have, could have, would have done had they still been alive. Sorry. And at this point in time, it's just a matter of, what do I do with that? We have to deal with that healing, and then there's also this money aspect or assets aspect, or they left property, or whatever the case may be. So it's just a matter of dealing with one thing at a time.
Yeah. You know, what makes this complicated is usually when family members are estranged, there's some trauma, or, that has taken place between the family members who became estranged to one another. And sometimes dying wishes have terms and conditions. And what you have to think about is this a moment of healing for me, or is this a moment that's going to re-traumatize me for the rest of my life? Because that other member is dead, right? They're gone. You still have to live, and you don't know how long that's going to take place. So if there's a term and condition, so I'll just give an example for, and say the reason why you were estranged is because your parent didn't like your partner and they really didn't want you to be with them, and you had to be firm and say, I'd rather just be away from one another. This has been traumatic enough. But then in their will, or in their dying wishes, they say, this is what I want to give you, but you still have to break up with this person. And that can be quite a re-traumatic experience, because this person is gone. You can't even go to them and say, you have no right to do that. You have to live with this now for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so in that particular scenario, so look, at the end of the day, if there's an estrangement within a family and the parent passes away, in any situation, in any family, whether it's up or down, there are terms and conditions assigned to the said relationship. Whether you're a parent, whether you're a sibling, whether it's T's and C's that are visible in black and white, or T's and C's which is just there and it's silent. We all have that with every single relationship in our lives. But in this particular instance, if that is the case, if something happens to an estranged parent while you are in the outs with them, and the relationship is completely dilapidated, it will, no matter, regardless of whatever, it re-traumatizes you. It's a wound that is scarred over, and when this person's name comes up, when this person's situation comes back into your life, that scar is unraveling itself. So either which way, you have to deal with it, with them here still or without them. And let me tell you, from a personal aspect, I lost my mother a good couple of years ago, and I needed to do a lot of healing with my mother. I didn't have a great relationship with her. I still miss her to this day. But I had to do all that healing after she had passed. And had I done it while she was still alive, it probably wouldn't have taken me this long. It probably would have taken me on another path. But that is the situation that I had to deal with. I had to heal wounds, generational wounds that didn't even belong to me, before I could feel the okay and moving on in my personal situation. So it's literally up to you if you want to deal with it after they have passed or while they are still alive, to an extent that you are okay, even if it's even if you both agree to stay estranged, but on better terms, you have to do the healing for yourself above all else.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing that personal story, and condolences to you. I know healing takes a long process, Rushka, so thank you for sharing that personal viewpoint. As we wrap things up, it seems like you are more for repair while your family member is alive, right? It seems like that's the option that you are going for. Since we started the conversation, something that you've repeated in multiple ways. Could you tell us why you feel like that's a better option to deal with things?
Because they have the option and you have the option, and you have the opportunity to either put it to rest, whatever conflict, whatever trauma, whatever happened in the past, to put it to rest, because forgiveness is one of the most healing feelings you can actually experience. And the fact that you still have this opportunity to experience that healing with this person while they are still alive, that is profoundly better than dealing with it after they've passed away. Because at the end of the day, you have to look out for you and your soul and what makes, you sleep good at night, and to do it while they are still alive and well and kicking and living, to have that open conversation as to maybe you won't get the why. Maybe you won't get the why they did what they did, but at least you will do your due diligence from your end to make you happy and to give your mind peace and your heart peace.
Well, Rushka, thank you so much for having this conversation with us this morning. Really eye-opening indeed, even though there's so many layers to a conversation and situations like this. We really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Have a good day.
Have a great day. That's neuroagility profile practitioner and family law mediator Rushka Lee, speaking about honoring the dying wishes of an estranged family member. It's 9:30 Central Africa time. Let's get our latest sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Mosibudi Makura with the latest sports news at the Sawa. So South African football legend Edward Majens Modale has likened the current senior men's national football team, Bafana Bafana, to the Africa Cup of Nations winning squad of 1996. Modale was part of the Orlando Pirates' 1995 Africa Cup of Nations winning squad, and 2 months later the country were crowned champions on home soil. That team, under head coach Clive Barker, had a strong Pirates representation, and after coach Hugo Bruce announced his team yesterday that now comprises of 9 Buccaneer players in his 25-man squad for the AFCON in Morocco later on this month, Modale is seeing some similarities.
The last time Pirate dominated Bafana, it was during us. Remember, we had when we won the AFCON, we had about 7 players, 7 good players in Bafana. And now, if it will change Chile now, it's us. Before it was Sundowns, now it's Orlando Pirates, and it's good. And the good thing is that when Pirates start dominating, things just become easy, and trophies they just fall in place.
Now, Modale also says that with a good momentum around Bafana, and after returning with a bronze medal in Cote d'Ivoire last year, Bruce's team can do wonders next year and end the AFCON trophy drought 30 years on.
They can even go to the final if not winning it. I mean, with the belief of the coach, I like his belief and the methodology. He always does things his way, what he believes in and what he thinks will work for him, So for me, I think we're going to go all the way, I mean, we are unbeaten for now.
On to this now. Andre Nana has been left out of Cameroon's squad for the Africa Cup of Nations tournament with the team in chaos after head coach Marc Bress was sacked amid allegations of subterfuge. Now, days after being re-elected as Cameroonian Football Federation president, Samuel Eto'o, as well as his executive committee, announced the coach's dismissal in a dramatic statement. It featuring a long list of accusations of professional failure levelled against the coach, including inciting players to defy the Football Federation, Fecafoot. Now, the Belgian, appointed by Cameroon's sports ministry in April of 2024, a decision Eto'o immediately tried to reverse, is also accused of active collaboration with unknown individuals within the federation. He is also accused of failing to attend meetings, refusing to disclose his training programs, jeopardizing relationships with sponsors, and not releasing his squad selection on time, and using subterfuge to evade his professional obligations to hold press conferences. Now, Bruce is expected now to will be replaced by one of his assistants, David Pagu, an experienced Cameroonian coach who has also managed several teams in the country's top-tier football league. On to some rugby news now. South Africa's Blitzbok team touched down in Cape Town in the early hours of this morning after their fifth place finish in Dubai, with Ricardo Duarte already looking forward to another bite at the cherry. So that cherry is the HSBC Sevens Cape Town event, the second leg of the 2026 series, set for the DHL Stadium in the Western Cape province this weekend. South Africa won last year's tournament for only a second time since it moved to Cape Town in 2015, and Duarte says the team plays for love of the game, for the passion, as well as a chance to perform in front of family, friends, as well as loyal supporters. The Blitzboks will face a very tough pool opening against Dubai winners New Zealand, then Fiji, who beat them 28-10 last Saturday, closing off the group stages with a game against Great Britain. We'll wrap it up with some boxing news now. Unified heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk has named Deontay Wilder as his first option for his next fight. Usyk, who stopped Daniel Dubois at Wembley Stadium in July of this year to become the two-time undisputed champion, vacated his WBO belt soon after, with Britain's Fabio Wadley upgraded to full champion. The 38-year-old Ukrainian says he wants Wilder next year, calling the upcoming match interesting. Now, Wilder, once the division's most feared puncher, has struggled since his trilogy with Tyson Fury, suffering stoppage defeats to Joseph Parker as well as Xiao Zhang. The 40-year-old returned in June with a low-key win over Tyrell Anthony Herndon. And that concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember to also give us a call. The newsroom line is +27 11714 4459. I'm back with more sports news in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le Diamant Rouge aka Binales Sport depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Thank you so much, Musibudi, for that sports update. Let's get our latest in business.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa, and good morning. The The African Union Commission, through the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, is hosting the inaugural African Union Conference on Digital Agriculture under the theme Shaping Agricultural Policy for Africa's Future, Innovation, Climate, Smart Practices and Digital Transformation for Sustainable Development. The conference is set to discuss various cross-cutting thematic areas such as digital extension services, agri-tech innovations, market access and value chains. Head of the Rural Development Division and acting Dr. Janet Edeme is the head of the Agriculture Food Security Division at the African Union Commission.
So we are looking at how some of these innovations that we expect to have a deep dive into will be able to tell us how are they trying to address some of the challenges that we're facing. For example, if we're looking at issues around limited access to markets, are there platforms we can put in place for us to be able to provide the farmers with the kinds of information they would need in terms of the prices for their products and where they will get a good price for their products? Are there such platforms available? How do the farmers access the platforms? Do we have the infrastructure in place for the farmers to be able to get on those kinds of platforms?
And almost 2 weeks ago, the G20 Leaders Summit adopted a new global critical minerals framework. The adopted G20 Declaration on Critical Minerals aims to create a more stable and equitable supply chain for these vital resources by promoting value addition in producer countries like those in Africa. The framework will focus on protecting supply chains from disruption, increasing exploration in the developing countries, and ensuring that the wealth generated benefits the countries of origin through local processing and manufacturing, not just raw material exports. President Cyril Ramaphosa says these minerals need to benefit the countries that they are extracted from.
The G20 leaders also agreed that the critical minerals that the world needs should benefit those countries and communities where those minerals are found and extracted. There was agreement that countries like South Africa should be able to process and beneficiate the minerals they mine before selling them to other countries as finished products. This will create jobs for our people. The agreements reflected in the G20 Leaders Declaration are just the beginning. We will continue to advocate for global progress on these and other priorities.
And resistance is mounting against South Africa's National Treasury's proposal of a 20% national tax on online gambling. There is a widespread criticism of the tax, especially from licensed operators who say it would lead to the closure of businesses and ultimately job losses. Legal expert Garen Weitzman says that the proposal is constitutionally unacceptable.
Tax has got nothing to do with issues of responsible gambling. To the extent that tax is utilized for responsible gambling programs and utilized in an appropriate way for responsible gambling programs, then I suppose there is some sort of connection. But in tax and responsible gambling and the concern that's being expressed at the moment, across the media, in various other interest groups, that responsible gambling is a big issue at the moment and that taxation is a way to resolve it, I think is completely misleading and I think is wrong.
And Nigeria is leading Africa in oil exports to the United States, supplying $2.57 billion worth of crude between January and August this year. According to reports, the West African nation accounted for more than half of all African crude imports by the U.S. during the 8-month period, shipping 33.23 million barrels out of a total of 60.75 million barrels, or 55% of all African crude imports into the U.S. this year. Senior international trade consultant and author of Economic Diplomacy of the Diaspora, Collins Nweke, explains.
The surge is driven by a mix of global supply realignment and, of course, Nigeria's renewed refining momentum. With the U.S. cutting back on purchases from some Latin American and, Middle Eastern suppliers, due to, sanctions, quality concerns, and geopolitical tensions, it needed a reliable, Atlantic supplier. Nigeria fits that space perfectly well.
And U.S. Senator Tom Cotton has urged Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate online retailers Shein and Temu for alleged intellectual property theft and counterfeiting, citing increased scrutiny after the expiry of a U.S. trade exemption. Shein, a private company, and Temu, owned by PDD Holdings, have faced criticism, including a recent accusation from the European Commission regarding the sale of counterfeit goods. Shein claims to enforce measures to infringement, while Temu has pledged cooperation with regulatory efforts. And a look at your financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 443, and Botswana it's 13 pula 88. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 30, and in Zambia it's 22 kwacha 88. $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 34. Russia at 77 rupees 40. India, it's 89 rupees 59. China at 70 yuan 6. And in South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rands 9 cents. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. A look at your commodities. Gold is trading at $4,204 and platinum at $1,639 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $63.21 a barrel. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business News, I am Matabala Mahape.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Deogratus Bwire, wewe kama mkurugenzi wa shirika la kutetea haki za binadamu kutoka kule Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Maandamano yameendelea kwa siku ya pili. Nini kinaendelea?
Kwanza mimi ningependa tusiliweke kama wafuasi wa upinzani. Kwa sababu kiukweli mimi nilipata kidogo kushuhudia watu waliokuwa wanapita barabarani hawakuwa kwa namna yoyote ile wamebeba bendera ya chama chochote cha upinzani.
Umezungumzia swala zima vitu ambavyo havijakaa sawa vinapaswa kurekebishwa. Vitu hivyo ni nini?
Hivyo vitu ambavyo havijakaa sawa tayari nimeshavisema huko. Najua kumekuwepo na mtiririko wa matukio mengi sana. Watu ambao wanakuwa wanapinga masuala kadha wa kadha ambayo yanaonekana kufanywa na vyombo vya dola kwenye mitandao au hata pia nje, wamekuwa wakichukuliwa hatua.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Keep Africa in your hands. Connect to our website for all your news, sports, and cultural updates. channelafrica.co.za.
Gouvernance et ensemble d'Afrique, les guerres et United Nations aussi a décidé dans son programme de développer Africa, diminuer sa pauvreté, diminuer sa pandémie du sida, diminuer le décès de ses enfants, diminuer tout ce qu'elle doit, toi, maman. Africa. Aider. I say aider Africa. Aider. I say aider Africa. Promesse d'équité. I say aider Africa. Solidarité. I say aider Africa. L'illusion c'est faux, mais le rêve est permis. I say aider Africa. Afrique qui fera son chemin, vaille que vaille. I say aider Africa. Ma fierté négro s'appelle le mambo. I say aider Africa.
It's a beautiful one titled Africa. This incredible place, this incredible space that we really, really love. Habib Koite and Bamada coming through on that one. Very interesting conversation that we just had. And of course, we'll continue engaging after this.
9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama. Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa One. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa One. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
It's 9:51 Central Africa time. Speaking about honoring the dying wishes of your estranged family members. Whoa, how many layers were in that conversation? So
Too many
layers, right? Because estrangement is not something that comes easy to many of us, especially in the African context. We are told so many times that, hey, you have to make sure that your family, you stay close with your family. You can't let go of your family no matter what they do. And we get that messaging over and over again. So getting to a place of estrangement, it's on its own, is quite a big step. And I've seen that happening on social media. I see more and more young people saying, you know what, I'm actually going to choose myself because these are the situations that I've been, with my mother, with my father, with this family member, and I have decided to cut ties with them, and I've been happier since then. But then what happens when that person passes on? Because traumatic experiences and emotions don't just go away because you're estranged. You've just removed yourself from that situation, perhaps doing your own healing on the side, if that's what you have been engaging in. But that thing about healing is that it's never complete, because once that happens, there's going to be a trigger that takes place emotionally as well, and decisions that you now have to make that work on those very, very sore and painful triggers that have, risen from that estrangement.
Yeah, it's a growing phenomenon, estrangement, and I think at times it happens for good reasoning. Some people are doing it to detach from toxic family relations. Some people are estranged because they are running away from physical abuse from a family member. Other people are actually getting estranged from their family members because of financial manipulation. So there's many reasons why people actually separate from their family members. And to be honest, I think it's a personal decision, right? Yeah. When someone passes away that you've been estranged from, how you respond to that, right? Because sometimes we think healing happens in the presence of someone. Forgiveness happens because you've approached someone and you've spoken to them and told them that you've forgiven them. I'm not of that thinking really necessarily. I think you can forgive someone even if you are away from them and you are living outside of their environment, right? It depends on how you want to experience it, right? But if something is solvable, right? If something is repairable, I'm of the same option as Rushka to say, if you can approach that family member and work on things while they're alive, it would be advisable, right? Because some estrangements can be kind of redeemed. You can find yourself in a situation where you speak to your family member and actually reconcile. So reconciling, if you can, and if it's the best option, if it's a healthy option, right, you can actually do it. But most of the time, people who are estranged have big issues to solve. So it's not an easy one to actually resolve.
No, not at all. Especially if those dying wishes, I think, further traumatize you. And I think it's something that should really be approached with care. Because even if you hear of the news of that family member's passing, and then you hear that, you are invited to their dying wishes, you go, you hear it out. And if that moment re-traumatizes you, there's a big decision to make there. And it's a decision about yourself most of all, because the person that you are estranged to is now gone. They've lived their life and it's over, right? Because sometimes you from a hurt place, you would want to have hurt that person who has hurt you. And now that you only have yourself, the decision is, do I want to live the rest of my life with that hurt? Because the other person who has hurt me is gone. And that is really, really sad reality. So what would you do? Would you honor the dying wishes of an estranged family member? And if you've been in a place where you've been estranged with a loved one in that way, or a family member, perhaps let us know what your experience are. I know it is quite a sensitive issue to speak about, but we are here to open the discussion to you if you are willing to do so. Head on over to our various social media platforms. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, and you can comment on those comment sections. You can comment on our WhatsApp number +27 63 406 9126 and any of our social media platforms at Channel Africa 1.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Voice is a mystery, but they always trying to diss me. Same guys trying to get in my way. Keep the same vibe, you can ruin my day. Oh, my voice is a mystery. Ride the wave of my history. I've been distant to keep my distance. Goodbye to a boring life. I like to seek, but I'm never inside. Even though my time to ride, I like to care, but I never reach fight. Swinging my ways like I never did say. And then I roll like I really get back. And you can't believe what you heard about me. It's the magic for me. They keep trying to reach me, yeah, yeah. It's the magic for me. I make them weak till they run insane. So get me lit on a weekday. I I'm on the way, and my ways on the display. And I'ma shut them all down one of these days. It's my time, so put me on a replay. Oh, this girl, and they say they won't try me. Oh, this girl, and they want it done by me. Oh, this girl, and they say they won't break. Oh, this girl, and they say they won't try. Oh, this girl, and they say they won't break it. Oh, this girl, and they say they won't take it. Oh, this girl, and they say they won't buy me. Oh, this girl, and they wanna be funny. I wanna go and make me go. Back then when I have no friends and you're condescend, but I really want to see. Even though, bro, I could let you go, I really want to show that you really got me. Even on the days when they try to arrest me, but you live a lie, there's no way you can get me. Piss them off, they lock me up in a celly. Then they shock them when they see me on the telly. You know, I'm a vibe and I run it as usual. I the only come around just to make it. And I can shake things, but I break it. You name it, boy. Who knew? I won't care for the things that you do. I could turn, let everyone try me, cause you're never gonna get what's for me.
That is Thames with one titled Replay. I love me some Thames. Well, we're about to move on into the second hour of the show. We're going to be speaking about, I guess, leaving gracefully from your job. Of course, there's so many reasons why people, want to quit their jobs and want to leave that particular work environment. But I don't know. Sometimes people say, do not burn your bridges. So how do you do that? How do you leave your job thoughtfully? How do you leave your job gracefully? We'll be looking at the art of that in the next hour of the show. We also have it up on our On The Move poll, so head on over to our X handle at Channel Africa 1, and we're asking you the question: what is the most common ungraceful job exit style? Is it a spicy email? Because you know what, you're fed up. You've had enough with them, and this time, because you're leaving with a bang. Is it no handover? That's also something. Many workplaces have a handover process that would take a little bit of time when you are leaving. And if you decide not to do the handover, that's not seen as very graceful. Is it the trash talk? Oh my goodness, maybe you stood in front of the entire floor and you stood on top of the desk and you told everybody's business.
That sounds like when you've won the lottery, right?
Must be, and hopefully that money doesn't run out ever again. Or is it just a quiet exit? A disappearing act could also be quite ungraceful. Which one would you pick? All right, let's move on and get our latest news update as we go into the second hour of the show.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Looking at your top stories, a sharp rise in global casualties from land mines and explosive remnants of war since 2020. And the death toll in Indonesia floods continues to rise. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. The 2025 Land Mine Monitor report has revealed a sharp rise in global casualties from the land mines and explosive remnant of war, the highest recorded since 2020. The report shows that civilians, especially children, continue to bear the brunt of these deadly weapons as conflict deepens and contaminated land keeps expanding. Lebohang Mabange explains.
6,279 people were killed or injured in 2024, an average of 17 people harmed every day, nearly half of them children. Myanmar recorded the highest casualty toll at 2,029, more than double last year. At the launch of the report, experts underscored the continued humanitarian consequences of landmines and explosive remnants of war. The monitor warns that casualties are rising fastest in countries where mines have been newly deployed in recent years, and that the support required for victims falls far short of the escalating need.
Nigeria has offered Guinea-Bissau opposition presidential candidate Fernando Diaz protection at its embassy in the capital Bissau following the military coup. Diaz, a 47-year-old relative political newcomer, has said he was on track to win the November 23 presidential election before the military coup in the small West African nation last week. The opposition coalition backing Diaz has denounced the coup as a desperate attempt by President Umaro Sissoco Embalo and his supporters to block the proclamation of election results. In Nigeria, Jonathan James Liamgon reports.
This didn't just happen without a precedent. Nigeria's former president, Goodluck Jonathan, who was on a team of ECOWAS observer mission during the elections and was even said to have been stranded following the cancellation of the elections by the military, returned to Nigeria and went to brief President Tinubu about the situation. And it is strongly believed that the decision by Nigeria has come following President Goodluck Jonathan's briefing to President Tinubu.
Some analysts say South Africans deserve nothing but the truth from Police Minister Senzo Mchunu when he testifies before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this afternoon. Several witnesses have testified that Mchunu did not consult stakeholders when he disbanded the political killings task team. KwaZulu-Natal Province Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has alleged that the task team was disbanded to protect criminal cartels and some high-profile suspects. But Mchunu, who is on a leave of absence, has denied the allegations. Political analyst Levi Indo.
The minister should be able to take South Africans in his confidence. Firstly, on the powers that he has as the minister in terms of decision making. Two, the suspicious relationship that he could have had with certain individuals that are questionable. But also very importantly is that his role in the activities of the police. But here it's about the truth, it's about what has happened and what has not happened, and the commission will have to make a final determination. I expect Mchunu to come and talk more about the PKTT and try to justify the main reasons why he took a decision for that to be disbanded.
The President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, begins today a 2-day working visit to Mozambique, during which he is expected to participate in the 4th Bi-National Commission and Business Forum between the two countries. According to a statement from the Mozambican presidency, the Bi-National Commission meeting taking place today in Maputo will strengthen relations between the two countries. South Africa and Mozambique have strategic and fraternal relations developed during the fight against colonialism and apartheid. The death toll in the floods which struck Indonesia last week has now risen to more than 500. Rescue workers are still battling to reach affected areas. A rare cyclone that had formed over the Malacca Strait caused the floods, which have affected 3 provinces. The BBC's Astra Dextra Edin Rastri explains.
Several people were injured after being crushed in the crowd during lootings in North Sumatra. Some villagers have told the BBC they've been forced to walk for hours to reach the spots where government airdrops of aid are being delivered just to find clean water, rice, or even a phone signal to call for help. Humanitarian groups warn of a growing risk of indirect deaths, not from the floods themselves, but from hunger, untreated injuries, and a lack of medical care.
Recapping on your top stories, the 2025 Landmine Monitor Report has revealed a sharp rise in global casualties from landmines and explosive remnants of war, which is the highest recorded since 2020. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Ntsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Hey, it's 6 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. This is On The Move. Hey, we've got 2 hours to go. We've got great conversations that are still coming up. Remember, you can join us on our live streams. As soon as you get there, hey, holla back at us and say, hey, Joburg, what are you guys up to? I'm from this part of Africa. Let us know where you listen to Channel Africa from as soon as you get on that live stream. Would really, really love to hear from you. It's always cool to know where you are listening to Channel Africa from. So remember, our live streams are on our Facebook page, simply titled Channel Africa, or you can check out our YouTube page. Subscribe on our YouTube page so you can easily access us anytime, every day, and you can also just see what we're getting up to right here on Channel Africa. Well, we're moving into our In the Cubicle feature. How do you leave your job in a way that is professional? You know, hey, you can't just stand on the tables and shout out like to your colleagues, hey, you guys, I didn't like you anyway, so I'm leaving. No, that's not the way to do it. You have to do it in a way that honors you, your professionalism, but also when you start your new adventure, you know that you haven't burnt bridges behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important, right? But, sometimes the reasons that have you quitting your job could be because of like internal abuse, could be like long-term aggravations that have happened. But sometimes you're like, you know what, I am done. And you could be very, very angry. That can also make you, make very emotional decisions at the time on how you're leaving your job. So even if that is the way, we're going to be speaking about the art of leaving your job thoughtfully. How do you do it in a way that also reflects positively on you and your journey ahead? Because you never know if your next employer is going to be calling your former employer and then they say, you know what, do not hire this particular person. So we're going into that right now in the cubicle. Stay with us.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
The South African Medical Association, SAMA, has officially suspended all relations with the Israeli Medical Association, a move welcomed by healthcare workers for Palestine, South Africa. The organization says this decision represents a powerful stand for medical ethics, justice, and human rights, echoing the global call for solidarity with Palestinians.
And recently, we've also seen other national associations, such as the British Medical Association, Turkish. They've released quite strongly worded statements, although none have gone as far as SAMA to cut ties with the Israeli Medical Association, as well as to call for the suspension from the World Medical Association. It's a watershed moment that an organization has actually taken this step. And it's not an idle threat. SAMA is a member of the World Medical Association, and they can action this resolution by bringing it before the World Medical Association.
Dr. Sadiq Mullah, chairperson of Healthcare Workers for Palestine, South Africa.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Keeping you on the know and on the move.
Hey, ending your relationship with your employer is not an easy one. That's what we're talking about today in the cubicle. Leaving your job is probably one of the moments that can feel daunting, but also can be very, very exciting. Many of us wonder and ask ourselves this question: how do we leave in a way that feels right without burning any bridges? what does it really mean to resign with grace, and what kind of approaches do you actually have to deal with to leave in a matter where your reputation or your future opportunities stay intact? We're joined by Lisa Matumola, who is a Namibia-based HR consultant and job finder coach. Welcome, Lisa, on the show.
Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Oh man, I always love hearing that bubbly voice indeed. Lisa, let's talk a little bit about this idea of quitting or leaving your job or resigning. I think we should define it, right? Because I think most of the time we get that idea wrong because we don't know what resigning actually is. Could you define it for us?
Thank you very much, Benjamin, for the question. Resigning is when you notify your current employer about your ability or idea that you are leaving the organization. So it's really informing and mentioning that, that my tenure with you is coming to an end. I've found another opportunity, or I'm going to study, because there are also various reasons in terms of why employees resign. Some, they just want to take a career break. Others, maybe the environment is just not aligning with their values. So they have made that decision, that call to say, I am leaving and my journey with this company comes to an end.
Mm-hmm. And how do you do it? Do you stand and stomp on the table, say, hey guys, I'm done with you guys because you guys have not been treating me well. This environment has been toxic. Or do you go to your direct boss and say, hey, I have decided to do that? Or do you have to send an email first before having that conversation with your line manager? Or do you just run straight to HR without your department knowing anything and letting them know that you are resigning? I'm sure all these ways make it complicated for many people because the line of quitting is sometimes precarious because maybe you're not in good standing with your line manager, so you do it another way. What's the best way of following a good procedure?
I will build up on your last statement to say, based on the relationship that one has with a line manager, the resignation process can actually start from there. For those that have good relationship, and remember, Benjamin, resignation can be very emotional, regardless of how much you want to badly leave. Because some people, we get attached to this company. If you worked for a company for 10 years, for 5 years, sometimes you're not even leaving the person. It's the relationships that we have with our friends, with our team workers, with our colleagues, with our stakeholders, or even our customers. But in terms of how to resign, the different approaches. If you have a good relationship with your manager, and there are also employees who know that they are critical to this company, their skills is scarce, or they are top performers, for instance, so they know that them leaving, they might also actually be working on very, very important projects. The timing might also probably not be the best at the time, but some would first want to have a discussion with the line manager and inform them to say, this is actually what is on my table. I have this offer, or this company has been talking to me. This is the amount they're offering me. So that is the easiest way to have, and that is because the relationship is good. Sometimes even if the environment is not very very, very good, the best, some people would still take that initiative, because it's also about your emotional intelligence, about the brand. You mentioned about reputation, so that would be another option. But some of us, the most common way is to draft a letter and then submit it to HR. Obviously, most resignations are submitted through the HR department. However, before one resigns, you rather inform your line manager if you want to, but it's not compulsory, but rather putting it in writing. An email maybe, but a written letter is kind of valid and assures people that this resignation is actually valid and they can act on it.
You spoke about the fact that there are obviously amicable reasons sometimes that people are resigning. Maybe they just have better opportunities somewhere. somewhere, and that's how it is. But sometimes people resign because of toxic work environments, of emotional abuse, a lot of distress, and some bad things that have taken place. And when that's the case, you're bringing in the layer of emotion that's going to play part in you resigning from that institution. And sometimes that emotion can be anger. And when you're angry and you decide to leave, what are some of the things that you need to think about before you act on your resignation?
Absolutely, Palesa. And I can relate to what you just said, the anger part. My story is my job came to an end. And when your job comes to an end, sometimes, you probably haven't resigned. It can be like in terms of retrenchment, voluntary retrenchment as well. There's like this anger in terms of why me, or why am I leaving? Or you feel that you are mistreated, or the process is not being fair. But the one thing we should remind ourselves is that just because sometimes and remember, when it comes to toxic environment, it might just be in that one department, or we experience it maybe from that one line manager. So the entire company, we love it. We love this brand. We love the organization. We believe in the mission, the vision, and whatever it is that their mandate is all about. And these people can leave at any given time as well, because they are not there forever. They are also employers like any of us. So why should one waste time fighting, or, as you mentioned, jumping around the table, swearing, using whatever words? But maybe, and also we don't know where we are going. In my culture, there's a saying that you know where you are leaving, but you don't know where you're going. So we also don't know who we are going to meet on the other side. And I've seen actually employees, when they resign, within a month or a few weeks, they come back to their current employer if the opportunity is still available. So if you leave on a bad note and the environment on the other side is actually even worse, or the line manager on the other side is worse than what you expected, imagine that burning bridge that you just talked about. It has been destroyed. And very important, I recruit, and when I recruit companies or the clients that we recruit for, they're always asking us to do background checks, reference checks in terms of who is Palesa, what was the relationship. So imagine working with Benjamin, and if Benjamin is your line manager and the day you leave, some people even go on social media, they say all sorts of things. So for us who are actually hiring you, we also start to think, is this person really the right fit? Because there's also about right fit, culture fit. Are you aligned to our values? What if you also leave? I mean, there are issues that happen, but at times it's not worth it. Like, why should you go through this much trouble? And it might feel good for a very short time, because for that moment you want to call people off, but the reputation and the brand that you are also creating, because it's about your image as well. Who are you? We're also protecting your professionalism. So it's very, very important to think about all these things, because if other employers have to conduct reference checks on you, what will that say? You might lose out on opportunities because of that.
So you have to think about your reputation, you have to think about your brand. Even though you're angry, there's still such a thought system that goes into resigning. We're speaking about leaving your job thoughtfully, and that's also on today's On The Move poll. Go there at Channel Africa 1. We're asking you the question, what is the most common ungraceful job exit style? Is it a spicy email? Is it no handover? Is it trash talk or a disappearing act? Let's hear your thoughts on today's On The Move poll. We continue this conversation with Lisa after the break.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga,
stronger.
Africa Update with Lulu Kapu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Palesa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
We're chatting to job finder coach and HR consultant Lisa Matumola about leaving your job thoughtfully or gracefully. Of course, quitting your job has so many reasons behind it. Some of them don't come with the good emotions, and some of them are actually quite amicable. How do you make sure you do it in a way that doesn't burn your bridges or come back to bite you in the you know what? Lisa, you heard the options I had on today's On the Move poll about, the most ungraceful or the most common ungraceful ways for people to leave their job. I saw one of those options there being a disappearing act. Is silence sometimes okay? Maybe just a silent email to your HR or your boss and just leaving without saying a word. Can that be okay?
Unfortunately, that is a danger move. They say that, where the danger move is when you leave without actually notifying. Because when we are employed, we sign contracts. And in those contracts, it actually states or stipulates in terms of we need to notify the employer. So going or just leaving without saying anything, it means that you are also going to owe the employer money. Because if you need to serve for at least 3 months notice or 1 month notice, there is money to be paid. Because when you resign, the employer still has the responsibility to make sure that they replace you, and you must also do handover. There's quite a lot of some of us work on very critical systems. We need to terminate you and all those kind of stuff. Also just to verify, maybe some of you owed companies, because sometimes we get salary advancements, we get loans from the company, the employer. There's a lot of aspects behind the scene to just being living, and I know some environment they really force us. I mean, when we talk about other generations, they will just send the laptop. If you send the laptop either with Uber, in Namibia we have Yango. So sometimes it's really they can still come for you because maybe you stole something. So they still need to be that validation. You need to be terminated either from accesses as well, accessing the premises, handing over whether it's your card and all this kind of stuff. So there's quite a lot. It's always important to give it thought, no matter how frustrating it is, unless if it's really something that is psychological, but you can involve a legal person and seek legal advice in terms of how to, because we sometimes you are still in the prime of your career, so you don't want to have that to your name.
When you get a new job, it's exciting, it's exhilarating. And when they ask you on the other side and they say, when are you available? When can you start? Usually the response is right now. I'm available immediately, right? But we know that is not the proper way of doing it. What must you consider when you are making that decision of when you are available to start on your new job? How do you approach that element?
Thank you for that question. And recently or last week, I actually had a job seeker ask me about that. They said that I think the environment, they also felt like they are being mistreated. It's actually amazing that we are talking about this because the scenario is similar. And they felt like, can I give a 24 hours notice? And I said, go check your contract and see what actually the person was asking that, is it fair for the employer to withhold my salary if I resign 24 hours? And I said, check your contract or your policy, your HR policy, because if it's also stipulated, it means that you are legally binded by the fact that you need to notify this organization in terms of giving that 24 hours notice. So it's very, very important to understand in terms of what is it that I'm putting myself into, and inform the other employer. In interviews, we actually do ask, what is your notice period? Some of us, because we really want the job, we just say I'm available immediately, but my notice period, and the more senior one is, because even for us who are recruiting on the other side, we know that if you're a CEO, if you're an executive, you're in senior management, we are likely to get you in the next 3 months. That's why sometimes interviews are also conducted, and we know that we will need this person by the 1st of March. So sometimes the other employer is also not in a rush to hire you immediately. So it's very, very important to make sure that you inform them of your availability. But the beauty is that if they also want you, I've worked for a company where they can buy you out. They especially in private sector, they pay the other company money for that 3 months, but you start working for this company. And in some organization, depending on how the environment is, there's what they call cooling period. But in Namibia, it's not very common. But I think in countries like South Africa, they allow that if you worked in a certain environment, let's say I worked in telecommunications, I need like a cooling period before I can go work for another telecommunications company. Because of that, there's like this secret strategies and in-depth knowledge that we have for the competitor. So sometimes companies also put that in employee contracts. So it's very, very important. But I would say take your time. Not every company or employer is always in a rush. If you're available immediately, you are going to pay your current employer, especially if your new employer is also not willing to pay them for that amount that you're not going to be there. Unless if you have the money, then you can pay and leave immediately, but otherwise they will deduct.
Well, let's wrap up the conversation, Lisa. If someone is listening right now and they're thinking of resigning from their current job for whatever reason, what is a good checklist? Just a quick checklist that we can go through to make sure that we follow the right steps so we leave gracefully, we don't burn our bridges, and of course we have a good future in front of us.
Thank you very much. First one, I would say check your employment contract. What is my notice period? Also, just to see in terms of what is the impact? What if it doesn't work out on the other side? Am I leaving because of the company, the entire company, or am I leaving because of one person? Also, is this a relationship I can mend? Because some of the relationship, we can actually, if we are intentional, mend them. What is the impact in terms of my brand? How many years do I still have? Do I want to come back to this company one day? Because sometimes we leave because we are not getting promoted, but one day I will still want to come back. My professionalism, what is the chances that people will do background checks? Some resignation can even make it to social media, headline, newspaper, your cover page. So do you want that to be part of your brand? So if I have to say, should you live? Kill them with competency. Emotional intelligence is everything, and kindness is very, very important. So live kindly, because one day you will need them. You will need information from them. I wanted to say Namibia is very small, but the world is very small. Yeah. So you don't know who you are going to need in the future. It might look for that moment that you don't need them, but relationships are forever. Let's build and maintain those relationships, no matter how bad they are.
Yeah, so kill them with kindness, ne, Lisa?
Yes, kill them with kindness. It works. It does work.
Wonderful. Hey, how's the weather there in Namibia? We've been having rains here in Johannesburg, South Africa. Are you guys getting rains there as well?
We get rains not every day, sometimes, so we need more of it. So please send some. But it's a bit chilly in the morning.
We have so much rain to send you. I don't think you can handle all the rain we have to send you.
Hey, Lisa, where can we get... Sorry to interrupt there. Lisa, where can we get you online? Where can people get more advice from you if you have a social media presence?
I am actively on LinkedIn, so my name is Alisa Matomola. I also post on TikTok. TikTok is like my new baby now.
Oh, nice.
I'm on Instagram and X. I call it Twitter because of my age, but I'm on Facebook. I'm not very active, but I'm on all the social media pages, but very, very active on LinkedIn. So even if people want me to review their CVs, I'm actually doing that for free right now, just to comment and also sharing tips in terms of job searching during the festive season. So we don't rest, we continue.
Nice, man. Thank you so much, Lisa. It's always great getting these practical notes from you all the way from Namibia. Thank you for joining us here in South Africa.
Thank you for having me, and enjoy the festive season.
You too. It's 10:30 Central African time. Hey, how is it for you when you move from one place to another, especially when it comes to your work? Is it a tricky thing? What do you think of that advice given by Lisa? Let us know via maybe a voice note on our WhatsApp number. Start off with the South African code +27 and use this number 634069126. We'd love to hear from you here on Channel Africa. Well, right now it's time to move on. There's a lot of things happening in sports. It's going to be a busy December when it comes to sports. We know that here in Africa, we've got AFCON. But let's see what Musibudi Makura has for us in her sports bulletin.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Desk will start here. So the Democratic Republic of Congo on Monday omitted forward Yaone Wissa from the 26-man squad for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations tournament, with the forward having been out of action since October. Now, Wissa suffered a knee injury on international duty and has yet to feature for Newcastle since his move from Brentford at the start of the Premier League season. But he has returned to training. However, DR Congo coach Sebastian Desprez has left Wissa out of the squad for this month's tournament in Morocco. Now, the Congolese compete in Group D and play their first game against Benin and Rabat on the 23rd of December. They also have Botswana as well as Senegal in their group. South African football legend Edward Majens Motale has likened the current senior men's national team to the Africa Cup of Nations winning squad of 1996. Motale was part of the Orlando Pirates' 1995 Africa Cup of Nations League winning squad, as well as 2 months later the country were then crowned African champions on home soil. That team under head coach Clive Barker had a strong Pirates representation, and after coach Hugo Bruce announced 9 Buccaneer players in his 25-man squad to Morocco earlier on this month. Later on, that Africa Cup of Nations tournament taking place later on this month, Motale is seeing similarities to that.
The last time Pirate dominated Bafana, it was during us. Remember, we had when we won the AFCON, we had about 7 players, 7 good players in Bafana. And now, if it will change Chile now, it's us. Before it was Sundowns, now it's Orlando Pirates, and it's good. And you know, the good thing is that when Pirates start dominating, things just become easy, and trophies they just fall in place.
Motale says that with that good momentum around Bafana at the moment, and after returning from a bronze medal match in Cote d'Ivoire last year in the Africa Cup of Nations tournament, he believes Bruce's team can do wonders next year and end the AFCON trophy drought 30 years on.
They can even go to the final if not winning it. I mean, with the belief of the coach, I like his belief and the methodology, you know. He always does things his way, what he believes in and what he thinks will work for him, you know. So for me, I think we're going to go all the way, you know. I mean, we are unbeaten for now.
Onto this now, world record holder Armand Duplantis has confirmed that he will return to the London Stadium for the first time in 8 years when he competes at the London Diamond League in July of 2026. Now, the Swede, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist in the pole vault event, has won multiple titles at a world as well as European level. Duplantis, 26 years of age, has broken the pole vault record, a record 14 times since 2020, and most recently setting a best of 6.30 meters at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo in September. He first appeared at the London Stadium back in 2017 when he finished 9th at the World Athletics Championships at the age of 17. A year later, he then finished 3rd at the Anniversary Games behind USA's Sam Kendricks as well as France's Arnaud Leneval. And finally, in motorsport news, Red Bull say they are sincerely regretting comments made at the Qatar Grand Prix that led to Mercedes driver Kimi Antonelli receiving death threats. Now, Antonelli changed his Instagram profile picture to black on Monday after receiving abusive messages, including death threats, according to Mercedes. The controversy stems from Max Verstappen's race engineer, Giampiero Lambassi, suggesting over team radio that Antonelli had just pulled over and let Lando Norris through after running wide late in the race. That incident allowed McLaren's Lando Norris to gain 2 extra points, leaving him 12 clear of Verstappen heading into this weekend's 3-way tie title decider in Abu Dhabi. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. I'm back with the final sports update for the morning in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
África. Conhece o Ntivani? Claro que sou eu. Ntivani é o amante da música de corpo e alma. Eu amo música africana. Ele aprecia todos os tipos de melodias e passa os seus dias a ouvir a Channel Africa. Adivinha só, a Channel Africa quer ajudar o Ntivani e os amantes da música em todo o lado a descobrir ainda mais música incrível. Por isso, a Channel Africa está a convocar artistas africanos a submeterem as suas músicas. Músicos, lembrem-se de nos dar todas as informações relevantes no music@channelafrica.co.za. As submissões são a vossa oportunidade de ser ouvidos, mas não garantem inclusão na lista. Todas as submissões serão cuidadosamente analisadas para verificar se cumprem os requisitos da nossa estação. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Let's keep things moving with our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa, and good morning. The African Union Commission, through the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, is hosting the inaugural African Union Conference on Digital Agriculture under the theme Shaping Agricultural Policy for Africa's Future, Innovation, Climate Smart Practices and Digital Transformation for Sustainable Development. The conference is set to discuss various cross-cutting thematic areas such as digital extension services, agri-tech innovations, market access and value chains. Head of Rural Development Division and Acting Dr. Janet Ademe is the head of Agriculture and Food Security Division at the African Union Commission.
So we are looking at how some of these innovations that we expect to have a deep dive into will be able to tell us how are they trying to address some of the challenges that we're facing. For example, if we're looking at issues around limited access to markets, are there platforms we can put in place for us to be able to provide the farmers with the kinds of information they would need in terms of the prices for their products and where they will get a good price for their products? Are there such platforms available? How do the farmers access the platforms? Do we have the infrastructure in place for the farmers to be able to get on those kinds of platforms?
And almost 2 weeks ago, the G20 Leaders Summit adopted a new global critical minerals framework. The adopted G20 Declaration on Critical Minerals aims to create a more stable and equitable supply chain for these vital resources by promoting value addition in producer countries like those in Africa. The framework will focus on protecting supply chains from disruption, increasing exploration in developing countries, and ensuring that the wealth generated benefits the countries of origin through local processing and manufacturing, or not just raw material exports. President Cyril Ramaphosa says that these minerals need to benefit the countries that they are extracted from.
The G20 leaders also agreed that the critical minerals that the world needs should benefit those countries and communities where those minerals are found and extracted. There was agreement that countries like South Africa should be able to process and beneficiate the minerals they mine before selling them to other countries as finished products. This will create jobs for our people. The agreements reflected in the G20 Leaders' Declaration are just the beginning. We will continue to advocate for global progress on these and other priorities.
And state-owned institutions in Africa are now managing a record $1 trillion in assets, according to a monthly report from sovereign fund tracker Global SWF. Assets managed by public pension funds, central banks and sovereign wealth funds have grown as the continent is increasingly turning inward for investment due to cuts in concessional finance and aid. The report from Global SWF notes the rise of 5 new sovereign wealth funds this year in Botswana, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Eswatini, Kenya and Nigeria. However, funds in sub-Saharan Africa accounted for only 1% of the total global sovereign wealth assets, which total $14.3 trillion. And resistance is mounting against South Africa's National Treasury's proposal of a 20% national tax on online gambling. There is widespread criticism of the tax, especially from licensed operators who say it would lead to the closure of businesses and ultimately job losses. Legal expert Garen Weitzman says that the proposal is constitutionally unacceptable.
Tax has got nothing to do with issues of responsible gambling. To the extent that tax is utilized for responsible gambling programs and utilized in an appropriate way for responsible gambling programs, then I suppose there is some sort of connection. But in tax and responsible gambling and the concern that's being expressed at the moment, across the media, in various other interest groups, that responsible gambling is a big issue at the moment and that taxation is a way to resolve it, I think is completely misleading and I think is wrong.
And oil prices held firm as traders weighed up risks from Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian energy sites, mounting U.S.-Venezuela tensions and mixed expectations for U.S. fuel inventories. Brent crude futures rose 7% or 0.1% to $63.24 a barrel. U.S. West Texas immediate crude gains 13 cents or 0.2% to stand at 59.45% a barrel. Both benchmarks advanced more than 1% on Monday, while the West Texas immediate was near a 2-week high. A look at your financial indicators. One US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 443. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 88. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 30. And in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 88. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 34. Russia, it's 77 rubles 40. India, it's 89 rupees 54 rather, while in China it's 70 rand 6, and in South Africa is trading at 17 rands 9 cents. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. A look at your commodities. Gold is trading at $4,214 and platinum at $1,652 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $63.32 a barrel. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business News, I am Matabela Mahape.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Conversations are happening, and Channel Africa is at the heart of them. We tell the African story with clarity, pride, and purpose, reaching audiences that matter to your brand. Partner with us and connect your business with listeners across borders in multiple languages and markets. For partnership opportunities, sponsorship, or sales, email us at partnership@channelafrica.co.za. Channel Africa, the African Perspective. The voice of the continent, now online, with all your sports fixtures, lifestyle, and more.
Uzozisola, that's Justin Vibes featuring Diamonds of Guijo and Azul Serene right here on Channel Africa. We're speaking about resigning gracefully, resigning thoughtfully. Yes, I know you want to leave, but what do you need to think about? Got some great advice from our guest Lisa Matumola, who's an HR specialist, and she's like, you know what, there's some steps that you need to think about. Just calm down, especially if you're resigning from anger. Calm down and think about these things, because you don't want to burn your bridges. It's on our On the Move poll today. That's the question we're asking you. What's the most common ungraceful job exit style? Is it a spicy email? Is it no handover, trash talk, or a disappearing act? I've resigned before, many years ago. And I think the one resignation that I can really remember is I was working as an English teacher, an online English teacher. Yes.
How many lives have you had?
I've had so many lives. But this is a very long time ago.
Sure.
And then I got my first internship with a radio station. And as soon as I got the news, you can imagine I was at work and I was literally jumping in my chair. And I was like, I'm resigning right now. I'm leaving now. There is no time like the present. And I stood up from my desk immediately, went to, the boss's office, and I knocked there and I was like, you know what? I think this is a great environment. We've been doing really great, but I'm going to have to say goodbye. I got this opportunity and it's something that I really love to do. And it's something that I'm really passionate about. And I'm finally getting an opportunity to do it. So I'm going to have to say goodbye right now. And you know what? It turned out well for me, because they were actually really happy for me, right? They were really happy for me, like, oh, well done, congratulations, we are so happy for you, and we're happy, to just let you do your transition. No paperwork, no issues. You can go to your table, you can pack your things, and you may go. And I did exactly that. And they did also pay me for my work that month. So yeah, it didn't turn out that bad, but of course, it's not advised that is the system that you use. I think I was was just like too excited. And thank goodness I was in a really good and friendly environment at that time.
Oh, okay, good. There was a time where a contract of mine actually ended, right?
Yeah.
This was interesting. It was my first job, right? So I didn't go because I'm like, these people didn't say anything. They didn't say they're renewing this contract or anything. I mean, it's my first job and almost like an internship kind of a job, right? And I was a junior reporter at the time. And I remember just staying at home, right? And then, people are calling and like, I want to sleep.
Are you not at work today?
I'm like, I want to sleep, so I don't answer my phone because I just want to sleep. I sleep. Third day, I hear people knocking on the door. Go. How? I open. It's Gabby. And it's Lizzie. I'm like, what's up, guys? These are my colleagues at work. They're like, Ben, why are you ghosting work? Why are you actually absconding from work? I'm like, I'm not. My contract is done.
Over.
And nobody said anything about it.
And they probably also forgot. Did they
forget? Forgot.
Oh, no.
They forgot to tell me, like, Ben, actually, we're going to renew your contract. We didn't know. So you go back the next day and it's like this awkward little boy, little Ben, skinny me. And I'm walking into this big office. I'm embarrassed. And I'm like, I didn't know. I thought the contract was over and you guys didn't need me anymore. And that was an innocent mistake on my side because I didn't know it was my first job. But then I got a contract after that. So it was interesting to know that in different scenarios, I think we need more... I don't know what to call it in organizations, but I think organizations need to do orientations. Like sit down, this is what this job actually means. At this particular period, this is what's going to happen. And this is the kind of thing we want you to engage with you on. Because I think that orientation of your contract, even when you leave, you will have a clear mandate of what is expected of you, even on the exit strategy of that particular company, because companies have different exit strategies. So I think companies must do more in terms of orientating their employees on how they exit their employment.
Because I know you're bringing them in, but you also have to think of the possibility of them leaving at some point. And just informing them might actually take away the issues that might arise when that employee wants to leave. So I'm with you there 100%. Join our On the Move poll. Let's hear your thoughts on this one. What's the most ungraceful job exit style? Is it a spicy email, no handover, trash talk, or a disappearing act? At Channel Africa 1 on X.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the Move.
Des mythes perdus, des passages
raviver les mémoires, exhumer les connaissances, que la spirale du temps efface la veine de sa vie en moi, Makeda en moi. Mon peuple dans ses chants, il exalte sa joie. Loin de l'ignorance, il démontre sa foi. Riche d'hommes et de valeurs, il répare les erreurs. Fils et filles, vous et moi, prêts au combat. Makeda était reine, belle et puissante. Salomon rêvait de sa peau noire. Je chante, raviver les mémoires, exhumer les connaissances, que la spirale du temps efface la reine de sa vie en moi, Makeda en moi.
It's Lanubia. This one is titled Makeda. It's 10:58 Central Africa time, wrapping up this hour of the show. But we're continuing the conversation on all our socials. So find us on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Our conversations are open on all those spaces, as well as our WhatsApp, +27 63406 9126. We're about to go into our money matters. One thing that I found really interesting when I was in Madagascar was that their livestock work very differently from our livestock. They have these, well, they're not called cows, right? They don't call them cows, but it's kind of like a cow, very big curly horns. And they work. That livestock works really, really hard. They call the zebu. That's what they call them, the zebu. And they, every time if you're in the streets, the zebu are hurling carts with different things inside, and they're going from one place to the other. They are very, very hard-working animals, the animals. Then we looked at them and like, our cows in South Africa, they don't do anything. They're the laziest cows that we've ever seen. Now that we've seen cows that work really, really hard, the zebu in Madagascar. We're going to be speaking about investing in livestock. And I can imagine in a place like Madagascar, where cows are really a part of the workforce, essentially, they're a really big investment, because if you have one, then you can actually do things that other people cannot do in those areas. What does investing in livestock look like in our different contexts? We'll be having that conversation in our Money Matters feature in just a bit. But for now, back to our news desk for our latest news update.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Looking at your top stories, Iran's paramilitary rapid support forces claim seizure of Transport Junction. And South Africa's president begins 2 days of working visits to Mozambique. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces claim to have seized full control of Baba Nusa, which is a transport junction in the country's oil-producing south. Social media video shows armed man in RSF uniform firing guns and cheering outside a gate with an Arabic signage reading the 22nd SAF Infantry Division Baba Nusa. In a statement, the RSF said its liberation of Baba Nusa in West Kordofan State came as it fought against a surprise attack by the Sudanese army in what it called a clear violation of the humanitarian truce. On November 19, U.S. President Donald Trump said he would intervene to stop the conflict, which broke out in April 2023. The 2025 Landmine Monitor Report has revealed a sharp rise in global casualties from landmines and explosive remnants of war, which is the highest recorded since 2020. The report shows that civilians, especially children, continue to bear the brunt of these deadly weapons as conflict deepens and contaminated land keeps expanding. Lebogang Mabange reports.
6,279 people were killed or injured in 2024, an average of 17 people harmed every day, nearly half of them children. Myanmar recorded the highest casualty toll at 2,029, more than double last year. At the launch of the report, experts underscored the continued humanitarian consequences of landmines and explosive remnants of war. The monitor warns that casualties are rising faster in countries where mines have been newly deployed in recent years, and that the support required for victims falls far short of the escalating need.
Some analysts say South Africans deserve nothing but the truth from Police Minister Senzo Mchunu when he testifies before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this afternoon. Several witnesses have testified that Mchunu did not consult stakeholders when he disbanded the political killings task team. KwaZulu-Natal Province Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has alleged that the task team was disbanded to protect criminal cartels and some high-profile suspects. But Mchunu, who is on a leave of absence, has denied the allegations. Political analyst Levi Ndo.
The minister should be able to take South Africans in his confidence. Firstly, on the powers that he has as the minister in terms of decision making. Two, the suspicious relationship that he could have had with certain individuals that are questionable. But also very importantly is that his role in the activities of the police. But here it's about the truth, it's about what has happened and what has not happened, and the commission will have to make a final determination. I expect Mchunu to come and talk more about the PKTT and try to justify the main reasons why he took a decision for that to be disbanded.
The President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, begins a 2-day working visit to Mozambique today, during which he is expected to participate in the 4th Bi-National Commission and the Business Forum between the two countries. According to a statement from the Mozambican presidency, the Bi-National Commission meeting taking place today in Maputo will strengthen relations between the two countries. South Africa and Mozambique have strategic and fraternal relations developed during the fight against colonialism and the apartheid era. Extreme weather conditions and a series of crashes on the Trans-Siberian Highway have caused traffic congestion. Motorists were struck for hours and some were stranded overnight on the road connecting Siberia and the far east of Russia. This as the temperatures dropped to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Local authorities have blamed truck drivers for violating traffic regulations and causing crashes. These motorists explain how being stuck in the traffic has affected them.
We were stuck for the whole night in Soldan. We had no water, nothing.
It's taken us 26 hours to travel the 50 kilometers from Kulturk.
Recapping on your top stories, Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces claim to have seized full control of Baba Nusa, which is a transport junction in the country's oil-producing south. The RSF said its takeover came as it fought in what it called a clear violation of the humanitarian truce. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinzi.
On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thank you, Onelenzi, for that news update. And our dedicated news team, of course, they're always on time and always giving us the updates that we need to know on the continent and all across the world. That's Onelenzi on our news. We have Musibudi Makura on our sports and Matapelo Mahape giving us the latest business news. We're moving on into the third hour. This is On the Move. No matter where you are, you're moving around, it doesn't matter, but you can find us anywhere. And all our platforms are always open for you to engage in. channelafrica.co.za is our brand new pretty website. You can find us on the audio bouquets, DSTV channel 802, OpenView HD channel 628. You can find us on the SABC Plus app, and you can stream us on Facebook and on YouTube. So yeah, there are no excuses. The good conversations continue indeed. We're speaking about investment in today's Money Matters. And yeah, I know when we speak about investment, you've heard so many options, so many reasons to invest and ways to invest, but we're speaking about investing in stock. Livestock is what we're talking about today. Yeah, maybe is it the cows and the sheep and the likes? You think to yourself, I think to myself actually, I don't have any space in my little yard to keep a cow. So what does investing in livestock actually mean? Does it mean that I'll have to find a space somewhere in my backyard for 2 sheep and a cow to be roaming around because they are my investment? What does this actually look like when you're investing in things that are as tangible and as big as livestock?
Yeah, looking for... Look, hey. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
hello.
Are you there?
Oh, there am I. Yeah, looking forward to that conversation. We were speaking to Linda Pakwa, who is SV Capital Group Marketing Manager. How do we invest in livestock? That's what's coming up here on Channel Africa.
Early mama on your phone, I they call, baby. 247, they be you, I they want, baby. While I know yawa for you, baby. Chai, pack well and balance well for me. Yeah. Baby, oh baby. Baby, oh baby. Balance well for me.
No time for chit-chat. I want you to pull me closer. Baby, oh, miss you, I can't lie. We don't build love where distance no fit corrupt. No yawa, oh. Baby, tell me no yawa, oh. Back well and balance well for me.
Yeah, I know say things no balance, but you don't try for me. Yeah, and I go give you joy, cause I know strong man go there for me.
Yeah, good for you. Don't go give you story. Who wanna give you story now? So back well and balance well for me.
It's an incredible Nigerian trio, Tiwa Savage, Burna Boy and Davido. This one is titled Baby. We're about to go into our Money Matters just in a bit.
Conversations are happening, and Channel Africa is at the heart of them. We tell the African story with clarity, pride, and purpose, reaching audiences that matter to your brand. Partner with us and connect your business with listeners across borders in multiple languages and markets. For partnership opportunities, sponsorship, or sales, email us at partnership@channelafrica.co.za. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
It's time for Money Matters. This is where we look at our personal finances. We're all trying to do better, but we're also trying to grow our money. And the more information we get, the better it is to find good ways or good avenues of investment. Invest. We hear that all the time. And we're like, okay, I've heard about the investment, but those stocks, I just don't know how they work and how they go up and how they go down and which one to invest. Are they international and local ones? So yes, we are speaking about investing in stock, but a very different kind of stock that we'll be looking at today. We're speaking about investing in livestock, and smart livestock investing is emerging as an accessible and resilient way for everyday people to build long-term wealth. Unlike traditional markets, livestock offers tangible value, steady growth potential, and opportunities that don't require a financial background to understand. Want to learn more? That's what we're doing this morning. Joining us on the line is Linda Baqwa from SV Capital, who's the Group Marketing Manager, helping us understand better about livestock investment. Linda, thank you so much for joining us this morning. But I have a big problem, Linda. I have a very small yard and there's no space for a cow, 2 sheep and a goat in my backyard. Where do I put this livestock that I'm investing in?
Yeah. Yes, and that's actually an important question that you ask. And first of all, thank you for having me. So we do have a few clients, when they start their journey with SV Capital, that's one of the first questions that they ask us. Where am I going to keep the livestock? And we always say to them that this is a money in, money out investment. We do provide you with an opportunity to invest in livestock, specifically cattle. However, you don't have to worry about the day-to-day operations of raising a farm, which can be quite a mammoth task. So we just give you an opportunity to invest in livestock. And at the end of your investment term, what you get back is the returns that is generated from the sale of the cattle.
Okay, very, very confusing, because if I'm thinking about livestock, we're here on the African continent, there is livestock everywhere. And if this livestock is not mine, then how is it my investment? Break it down from a more simpler way to say, when you say you're investing in livestock, what exactly are you investing in?
Yeah, that's correct. So we give you an opportunity to invest in a fraction of cattle. So you're correct in saying that the underlying asset of the investment is a tangible and a physical asset. So the cattle are owned by SV Capital, and as you know, that there is a market for where the cattle get sold or get sent off to an abattoir. So essentially, the cattle will go to that marketplace at the end of their investment term, where it gets sold, and then you get your capital back, plus the returns that you've earned on your investment. And that's basically how it works. It's a really simple, as I mentioned, money in, money out investment product, but the underlying asset is a physical, tangible product. Whereas with your traditional types of investments, your stocks and bonds, it's not tangible. It's not something that you can see. But with the cattle, it's something that you can see, which gives a lot of our investors some comfort, knowing that the cattle are being managed by professionals. And at the end of the cycles, you don't have to worry about managing the cattle. They get sold off into the marketplace.
Hey, what if I don't want to buy cattle? What if I want to buy a flock? Does it matter on what kind of animal you want to invest in, or is it just a one type of investment, which is cows? Can you go for sheep?
Yeah. Yes, you definitely can go for sheep, but that's not an SV Capital product. So our products are the cattle investment, the delivery bike investment, the short-term investment, and the recently launched solar investment. But what I do understand is that there are other providers that give you an opportunity to invest in goats, poultry, pigs, sheep as well is also quite popular.
Okay.
But what we know about cattle is that it's generally the most accessible livestock investment, particularly for investors. And this is because cattle have a more predictable growth cycle in comparison to the other types of livestock. And it also has clear fee structures and a mature market. The cattle investment industry, if the ups and downs are not as extreme as the other livestock, the other types of livestock. And it makes it easier to understand compared to other livestock categories, and the volatility is quite low. So if you look at pigs and poultry, for example, they are considered to be higher volatility because they have faster production cycles. The feed costs can spike, and they are subject to disease outbreaks such as avian flu and swine flu, which can impact your returns quickly and quite significantly. So the reason why we ventured into, having a cattle investment product, which is our flagship product, is because of how reliable the cattle sector is on its own.
I'm going to even get more practical. Can I see my cattle?
Yes, absolutely. So we do have a farm in Bronkhorstspruit where all of our cattle are being looked after by an experienced feedlot. And the feedlot has been they've been in the industry since 1973, so the experience is there.
We will
and that with someone who's got the experience.
All right, I think we're losing that feed with our guest right now. Perhaps let's take a short break and see if we can get her back on the line, because we want to find out a little bit more about this livestock investment. It might be a really good idea, but do we actually know how it works? Okay, I hear that Linda is back on the line. Linda, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, so sorry for that little interruption there.
You were still explaining a little bit about the livestock, where it stays, if we can see that investment that we're making. You can continue on that thought.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So as I mentioned, we do have a farm in Bronkhorstspruit in Gauteng. And the reason why we've partnered with Beefcore is the 5th largest feedlot in South Africa, is because of the expertise that they bring. And what we know about livestock investing is that the quality of management is often the biggest determinant of the investment performance. So the results aren't driven only by the asset or the underlying asset itself, but by the expertise behind it. So this is how the animals are cared for, how efficiently the operations run, and how effectively the final sale is timed. And that's why we've partnered with Beefcore, so that they can manage all of that. It is a reputable feedlot, and they follow strict operational and animal welfare standards. And they scale as well, and disciplined approach reduces risk. It drives efficiency and supports more dependable returns for our investors.
All right, I was taught that there's no such thing as a stupid question, Linda, because every time there's something new, it's so hard to wrap your head around something like cattle being an investment, when we were taught that investments are something that's very different. So it's December season right now. I've invested in cattle with SV Capital. Maybe in my investment stock, I have 10 cattle. And then I have Umqimbi. I have an event happening this December, and I forgot it's a last minute event. Can I go to SV Capital and ask for 1 cattle or half a cattle so I can have meat for my Umqimbi, for my event that's coming up, because I want to use my cattle for food this December? Is that allowed?
Yeah, no, at the moment it isn't allowed. So we are an investment company, so we deal with the handling of the funds of an investment. But we're happy to have that discussion and refer you to the correct channels. If you would like to purchase meat for some sort of a function, we can point you in the right direction, or maybe connect you with our abattoirs and the people that handle our marketplace. But from an investment point of view, as I alluded to earlier on, that it is a money in, money out investment. You just invest in the physical asset, and when it gets sold, you make returns from that sale.
Okay. So no meat, no braais this December from the SV Capital stock. Maybe somewhere else then. But stay on the line, Linda. We'll come back and continue speaking about livestock investment. Sounds like something that's really interesting. But we find out as well, how do you actually get return on an investment like this?
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
All right, you are listening to On the Move, and this is our Money Matters conversation that's happening today. We are hanging out with our guest, Linda Bakwa, who is from SV Capital, a group marketing manager there. Now, let's see how we factor in the returns. How are they calculated? Tell us a little bit about how the profit margins are made.
Yeah. So just to go back to our four products, it's the cattle investment product, which currently has an average return of 14.58%. So that's potentially the returns you could look to make by the end of the 12-month mark, which is the full investment term. And then we've got the short-term investment, which is the average return for that is around 13.64%, and the minimum to invest in that is 1,000 rand. Cattle investment, the minimum for that is 500 rand. And then we've got a delivery bike investment, and the average returns for that they sit around the 17% mark, and the minimum to invest in delivery bike is 3,100, but it's a slightly longer term. It's 18 months. And then, as I mentioned, we recently launched the solar investment product. That one operates slightly differently. It's got 3 different terms. There's a 6-year term, a 5-year term, a 6-year term, and a 7-year term. For the investors that are looking for a long-term investment, and we've realized that a lot of our investors just want to put money away and not worry about it, or some of them want to invest on behalf of minors, for example. And by the time the child turns 18, they've got a really nice investment portfolio for themselves. So for the solar investment product, you're looking at earning returns of up to 21.40% per annum. So it's really exciting returns. And we've been fortunate enough to see double-digit returns over the years, and that's mainly due to how we manage our products and how we manage the investments as well. So it's been quite an interesting journey, and it's always lovely, when a client's investment matures and they realize that they've made quite a bit of money at the end of the investment term. And when we talk about the actual fees, which I think is also quite important, because when people approach an investment company, they don't do their due diligence, because at the end of the day, it is your capital that you are investing. So it's important for you to do the background check on the company. You need to understand who you're entrusting with your capital, what their track record looks like. For example, at SV Capital, we have a page on our website where you can see all of our fact sheets and you can see the historical performance of all of our investment products, which is quite encouraging to a lot of our potential investors. Transparency is also very important because there are fees involved, as you can imagine, to run the cattle, to manage the delivery bikes, because it's quite a large fleet, to manage the solar panels as well that we install in the residential and commercial properties. There are fees that are involved there. So, there are fees that will be incurred by the investor, but we have kept them quite minimal. So for livestock investments specifically, the fees typically cover the cost of purchasing the animals, the daily feed, the daily care, the veterinary and biosecurity requirements, and the management fee that is charged by SV Capital. But the fees are really minimal. And when you work with a reputable provider, these fees should be completely transparent with a clear breakdown of what the investor is paying for. And there should also be no hidden charges. So we do mention all of that information about our fees, how the returns are calculated in our terms of use document on our website.
All right. Well, in every investment, there are risks that we have to think about. And livestock are living things. They're actually there feeding, farming, and they're also susceptible to disease. They're susceptible to weather, natural disasters. Talk to us a little bit more about the common risks that individuals should be aware of when putting money into livestock.
Yeah, that's a very important question, and you are correct. There are risks involved with livestock investing. And I would say the main risks include price fluctuations that are driven by movements in the agricultural markets, because as you can imagine, there'll be a higher demand for cattle in the marketplace in one season than another. But what we've noticed about cattle, and specifically why we've got a cattle investment product, is that it's quite steady, which means our returns have also been steady over the years, always in the double-digit mark, and generally between the 12 and 16% mark in terms of returns that could be potentially earned. There are biological risks as well, such as disease, mortality, and environmental factors. And this is precisely where a professional investment platform adds real value. So at SB Capital, we manage these risks with strict biosecurity protocols. We have comprehensive insurance on all of the cattle, all of the delivery bikes, and the solar investment, the solar panels as well. All of those are comprehensively insured. And we also look at strategic market timing to know when it is the perfect time to sell the underlying asset. And this is to ensure that the assets are acquired and sold under favorable conditions at all time. In terms of livestock, mortality is definitely an issue, as I mentioned earlier. And the animal care, the herd health, the biosecurity needs to be minimized at all costs. So because we partner with Beef Corps, who is the fifth largest feedlot in the country, they guarantee 99% on the herd, with only a 1% mortality rate considered normal. We've been fortunate enough, even throughout the foot and mouth disease cycles, that because of our really stringent biosecurity controls, we have really remained unscathed. But in the past, we have had foot and mouth disease cycles, and we were able to. So what you would do is that you would obviously segregate the affected cattle from the rest of the herd, and you would treat those impacted cattle. And once they've been fully treated, then you can slowly integrate them into the main herd. So as you can see, it really is such a mission, which is why we don't want you to worry about the day-to-day operations of managing an animal or managing a farm. You just get an opportunity to invest in cattle, and when that cow gets sold, you make your money.
Nice. Linda, as we wrap up, I mean, where can we actually start doing this, and how would you advise someone who's entering this market to start?
Yeah. So another thing that potential investors need to look out for, especially now that we're in the festive season, if I may just take this opportunity, is that, there are scams going on everywhere, and it's important for you, before you invest your capital, as I mentioned, you need to do your due diligence and look at the company. Do they have a social media presence? Are you communicating with them on their official platforms? Because what we're starting to see is that a lot of clients come to us and they say, I was previously scammed, and they opened a WhatsApp group and they said I should invest and I'll earn returns in 24 hours, which is absolutely ludicrous, or returns of 300%. That is 10 times out of 10 a scam.
Yeah, sounds
because
dodgy.
There is no legit investment that takes 24 hours to mature. So there's a couple of things that we need to look out for. And just to confirm, we do have an official website. So it's svcapital.co.za. You can contact us on our office line, which is 011-568-3490. Our offices are in Bryanston in Johannesburg. We do have some clients that want to come here physically, and we welcome that as well, because if you're investing your capital, you want to also see the people that you're going to be dealing with. And of course, we do have a WhatsApp line that is available on our website where you can chat to our consultants about any queries that you might have. And then from a social media perspective, we're on all the platforms. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, YouTube, and WhatsApp, I suppose. We do have a WhatsApp channel as well where you can get regular updates about SV Capital. And signing up, you would just have to visit our website and go to the top right. There's a sign up button, and we just ask you a couple of questions and ask you to upload documents at the end, and then we KYC you, and you're good to go.
All right. Thank you so much, Linda. This has been an intriguing conversation. Thank you for joining us here on Channel Africa.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's Linda Bakwa, who is SV Capital Group Marketing Manager, speaking to us about livestock investing. What do you think about that? Do you think it's practical? Let us know on our WhatsApp number. Hey, let's move on right now. Let's get our latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Mosibu Dimakura with the latest sports news at the Sawa. So the Democratic Republic of Congo on Monday omitted forward Yaone Visa from the 26-man squad for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations tournament, with the forward having been out of action since October. Visa suffered a knee injury on international duty and has yet to feature for Newcastle since his move from Brentford United at the start of the Premier League season, but he has returned to training. However, DR Congo coach Sebastian Daspre has left Visa out of the squad for this month's tournament in Morocco. The Congolese will compete in Group D and play their first game against Benin in Rabat on the 23rd of December. They also have Botswana as well as Senegal in their group. Back home now, South African road running superstar Gerda Steyn has taken time now to reflect on what she described as an unforgettable year after earning a bronze medal in her Soweto Marathon debut over the weekend. Steyn clocked a time of 2 hours 37 minutes for a third place called the People's Race, the toughest marathon in the country. Now, her 2025 season has been nothing short of spectacular. She defeated both her Comrades Marathon as well as both her Comrades Marathon as well as the Two Oceans Marathon titles, with record-breaking performances reinforcing her status as the undisputed queen of South African road running. Steyn also began the year with a lucrative deal after signing with the Hollywood Athletics Club in Durban in the South African KwaZulu-Natal province, a partnership that further elevated her profile.
I think I can go and relax now and know that I've had a fantastic year. I'm really honored to have had the results that I've had. Even without a podium finish here at the Soweto Marathon, I still think a Comrades win and a record plus a Two Oceans win would have been an amazing year for me. But I wanted to still finish the year strong and put in one more performance. So I'm just pleased to add another podium.
On to motorsport news now. Red Bull says they sincerely regret comments made at the Qatar Grand Prix that led to Mercedes driver Kimi Antonelli receiving death threats. Antonelli changed his Instagram profile to black on Monday after receiving abusive messages, including death threats, according to Mercedes. The controversy stems from Max Verstappen's race engineer Gianpiero Lambassi suggesting over team radio that Antonelli had just pulled over and let Norris through after running wide late in the race. That incident allowed McLaren's Lando Norris to gain 2 extra points, leaving him 12 points clear of Verstappen heading into this weekend's three-way title decider in Abu Dhabi. Andy Murray admits he probably didn't get the results he would have liked during his short spell coaching Novak Djokovic. Murray, who retired after the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, joined Djokovic's team last November in his first coaching role, but the partnership lasted just 6 months, covering the 2025 Australian Open as well as 3 other tournaments before they parted ways. Djokovic remains a 24-time Grand Slam champion, while Murray says the experience gave him valuable insight into life on the other side of the net. And finally, world record holder Armand Duplantis has confirmed he will return to the London Stadium for the first time in 8 years when he competes at the London Diamond League meet in July of 2026. The Swede, a two-time Olympic gold medalist in pole vault, has won multiple world titles and European titles. He's 26 years of age and has broken the pole vault record 14 times since 2020, and most recently setting a best of 6.30 meters at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. He first appeared at the London Stadium back in 2017 when he finished 9th at the World Athletics Championships at the age of 17. A year later, he finished 3rd at the Anniversary Games behind USA's Cam Kendricks as well as France's Ranud Lanaval. That concludes your sports news this morning on Channel Africa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, remember to send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Call us as well on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Conversations are happening, and Channel Africa is at the heart of them. We tell the African story with clarity, pride, and purpose, reaching audiences that matter to your brand. Partner with us and connect your business with listeners across borders in multiple languages and markets. For partnership opportunities, sponsorship, or sales, email us at partnership@channelafrica.co.za. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Matapelo Mahape is now standing by for our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa, and good afternoon. African state-owned institutions are now managing a record $1 trillion in assets, according to a monthly report from sovereign fund tracker Global SWF. Assets managed by public pension funds, central banks and sovereign wealth funds have grown at a continent as the continent is increasingly turning inward for investment due to cuts in concessional finance and aid. The report from Global SWF notes the rise of 5 new sovereign wealth funds this year in Botswana, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Eswatini, Kenya and Nigeria. However, funds in sub-Saharan Africa account for only 1% of the total global sovereign wealth assets, which total $14.3 trillion. And the African Union Commission, through the South African Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, is this week hosting the inaugural African Union Conference on Digital Agriculture. The event is held under the theme Shaping Agricultural Policy for Africa's Future, Innovation, Climate, Smart Practices and Digital Transformation for Sustainable Development. The conference is discussing various cross-cutting thematic areas such as digital extension services, agri-tech innovations, market access and value chains. Head of Agricultural Development Division and Acting Dr. Janet Edeme is the head of Agriculture, Food and Security Division at the African Union Commission.
We are looking at how some of these innovations that we expect to have a deep dive into will be able to tell us how are they trying to address some of the challenges that we're facing. For example, if we're looking at issues around limited access to markets, are there platforms we can put in place for us to be able to provide the farmers with the kinds of information they would need in terms of the prices for their products and where they will get a good price for their products? Are there such platforms available? How do the farmers access the platforms? Do we have the infrastructure in place for the farmers to be able to get on those kinds of platforms?
And South Africa's Public Service and Administration Minister Mzamo Buthelezi says his department will use a lifestyle audit and the Central Register for offending public officials as a key instrument to manage and deter corruption in the public sector. The minister briefed the media in Pretoria, where he outlined the reforms aimed at strengthening integrity, accountability and ethical governance across the public service. He says the Central Register will serve as a barometer or to ensure that repeated offenders never ascend to senior positions again.
These reforms include identifying 2 critical mechanisms such as lifestyle audits and the establishment of a central register for individuals who have been found guilty of corruption. These colleagues, this central register will function as a national integrity barometer and a mechanism that ensures that repeat offenders do not re-enter positions of influence with.
And resistance is mounting against South Africa's National Treasury's proposal of a 20% national tax on online gambling. There is widespread criticism of the tax, especially from licensed operators who say it would lead to the closure of businesses and ultimately job losses. Legal expert Garen Weitzman says that the proposal is constitutionally unacceptable.
Tax has got nothing to do with issues of responsible gambling. To the extent that tax is utilized for responsible gambling programs and utilized in an appropriate way for responsible gambling programs, then I suppose there is some sort of connection. But in tax and responsible gambling and the concern that's being expressed at the moment, across the media, in various other interest groups, that responsible gambling is a big issue at the moment and that taxation is a way to resolve it, I think is completely misleading and I think is wrong.
And as global leaders push for sweeping World Trade Organization WTO reforms, a senior international trade consultant Collins Nweke warned that the debate is overlooking a crucial force, the diaspora. He says multilateralism cannot be rebuilt with outdated systems, while the technical expertise and economic influence of diaspora professionals remain sidelined. Nweke elaborates.
Africa is not short of talent. It is short of systems that recognize and deploy that talent. As the World Trade Organization embarks on its most ambitious reform in 30 years, African countries cannot afford to remain spectators. Our diaspora holds some of the finest trade lawyers, negotiators, and economists anywhere in the world. If we integrate them strategically, we bridge our capacity gap instantly.
And a look at your financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 443, and Botswana it's 13 pula 88. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 30, and Zambia it's 22 kwacha 88. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 34. Russia at 77 rubles 40. India it's 89 rupees 54. China at 70 rand 6 cents, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rands 9 cents. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. A look at your commodities. Gold is trading at $4,209 and platinum at $1,646 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $63.01 a barrel. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business News, I am Matabelo Mahape.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Keep Africa in your hands. Connect to our website for all your news, sports, and cultural updates. channelafrica.co.za.
Parlez-vous couramment le français? Êtes-vous passionné par la radio? Et êtes-vous qualifié pour travailler en Afrique du Sud? Envoyez-nous votre CV et vos 3 minutes démo en MP3 à @channelafrica.co.za pour avoir une chance de rejoindre la famille Channel Africa. Si vous n'avez pas de réponse après 14 jours, cela signifie que vous n'avez pas été retenu. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Madapiri bazoshitika. Madapiri bazoshitika.
Inogeka zingeni chihana lumbiritsidwa kukhala wachiwiri kwa mtsogoleri wa dziko la Malawi pa mwambo omwe unachitika ku nyumba ya chifumu ya Sanjika mu mzinda wa Blantyre. Ndiye pano tili ndi olemekezeka achihana. Takulandirani olemekezeka pano pa wireless ya Channel Africa pa Chinyanja Service. Amalawi ayembekezere zotani kuchokera kwa inu ngati wachiwiri winaso kwa president wa dzikolo.
choyamba ngati vice president umagwira ntchito yopatsidwa ndi president imene yakuganizira ndiye malowozi athu atipatsa bwinobwino koma ntchito yathu yayikulu ndikuwathandiza president kuti masomphenya awo yakwanitsidwe mbali zambiri zoti zichitike nkhani ya njala mdziko muno boma la udakali chimanga ndi china chomwe chili mdziko muno kuti tithandize families are affected. Chachiwiri kunali ma fuel shortages amene akanaliponso apo ndi apo tionetsetse kuti pumps athu asakhale dry.
zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi Madapiri.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Engathi abangizwanga kahle tapho yenze kahle lapho. Yazo uyazenzela enomntana uyazenzela bathi uyazenzela bathi yena uyazenzela bakichomi wantwaramo asimoteng wantwaramo asimoteng wantwaramo asimot wantwaramo kimoteng bakichomi kimoteng asabe engithi mina wantwaramo asimoteng wantwaramo asimoteng wantwaramo asimot wantwaramo kimoteng 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 asabe kajene bathi Kimote, 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 asabe kajene bathi
Indabisingitala mongbamba ungithinta ungispina bine moyeni kala motamba uyigcina uyijikisa le boneni mama kanti ubamba kanja kanti ubamba kanja kanti wena ubamba kanja ay indikala mongbamba ungithinta ungispina bine moyeni kala motamba uyigcina uyijikisa le boneni mama kanti ubamba kanja Bambaganda, kanti bambaganda. I'm
Totse o di etsang. Ha una tšhelete empa ntho tse o di etsang ke tsa batho ba na leng tšhelete. Ha una tšhelete, ha o gole sharp mfanaka, ha o gole sharp da. Sinogonoko ha siyo mono mo sebetsang.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
That's Uncle Waffles Zenzele doing great things in the music industry all around the world. It's 11:50 Central Africa time.
Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter?
Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard?
Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126.
And we will call you back.
So you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So yeah, that's who I am, you know.
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views.
Share your opinion.
Engage with the community that values your perspective.
Follow us on our social media.
Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za
and get ready to share your views
on Channel Africa,
the African perspective.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
All right, after On the Move, we'll be bringing you the Africa update right here on Channel Africa with Lulu Gabu. And she's here to let us know what's coming up on the show. How are you doing, Lulu?
I'm well, thanks. And how are you?
Doing good. Good morning.
Good morning. So we're going to be focusing on Cameroon with the death of Cameroonian opposition leader, 74-year-old Anicet Ekane. It has sparked a political uncertainty, and we'll be unpacking that. And then also a grim picture as stats shows that 2,103 girls between the ages of 10 and 14 became mothers in South Africa. I mean, just reading this, it's just a, it's a sad, sad story, and how we deal with this and how we ensure that our young girls are, protected and this doesn't happen to them. We'll be unpacking exactly what needs to be done and how everyone can get involved in just coaching these young girls and speaking to them and finding out what they need, because there must be a reason why this is happening, and just unpacking that. And also, but some may be a bit forward, in terms of in South Africa we say bapapa.
I don't like that mindset, Lulu. I don't like it at all, because there are laws in this country, and the laws are children of a certain age may not engage in sex. And the one reason that we're not speaking about is exactly why we're also having these 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And it's time we call it what it is. It's not teenage pregnancy. It is rape. It is sexual assault.
Also, remember that the age group of the young boys, because they also play a role in this.
Yeah.
They could be the same age. There could be a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. There could be a 13-year-old, or either way.
And there's so many instances, though, where the men are definitely over the age.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And
so
we should start looking at that.
Yeah, we'll be unpacking that, because it is a big challenge that a lot of countries are facing, not only South Africa.
Yeah.
But it's just that with now the stats being highlighted in South Africa, something needs to be done, especially going back to the fact that yesterday was World AIDS Day.
Yes.
There are all these implications and finding out the reasons why such young girls are finding themselves in this crisis, because the impact of this on not only themselves but also their families.
Yeah.
So a lot to unpack on that front.
Right, that's the Africa update coming up after On the Move from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Africa time. Stay with us right here on Channel Africa.
Mara
All right, that is Mara there taking us to 11:57 Central African time. We're getting out of here. It's been a good one. A lot of lovely conversations happening here, but you're going to be staying with Lulu Gabu and finding out what's happening on the African continent. Well, it's goodbye. Until next time, God bless.
Have a great day, Africa. See you tomorrow.